Welcome back everyone. Today we're going to talk about AI agents again. This is going to be part 3 of interesting or new novel agents that I think you should be paying attention to. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Welcome back to another video. We've got 6 different agents that we're going to cover today. So we're going to talk through them one by one. Some of them haven't even actually launched yet. And so I think they're worth paying attention to right now. Of course, a lot of this information is time sensitive. So if you're watching this perhaps in 6 months time, might not be useful for you then. Secondly, of course, nothing in this video is financial advice. These are very highly speculative instruments, and in most cases, probably most of these will end up going to zero at some point in the future. This is the game with AI agents anyway, that we're playing right now. But some of them are pretty interesting, which is why we're going to talk about them today. So first things first, we are going to talk about 3BC, and this is an interesting one. Some of you might actually catch on to the meme quite quickly. You may have heard of 3 Arrows Capital or 3AC. They've memeified this, so 3BC is in Bearer Chain because they're going to be launching on Bearer Chain. And what they've done is they've actually tokenized, or they will tokenize, a variety of agents with the actual OGs like Kyle Davis and Suzu. Now Bile Davis and Buzu, which I think is quite funny anyway. But what they're doing is interesting because they're not just creating some agents and just letting them yap around on Twitter. No, there's a little bit more to that. So first of all, they're an investment firm, just kind of like 3AC. And so they're going to raise some capital. And with that capital, what they're going to do is they're going to buy some Bearer Chain NFTs. Now, we know that Bearer Chain NFTs are pretty expensive. I mean, you can look at Bong Bears right now, floor price 250 ETH. I mean, if we just have a quick look, we can probably see the last sale, which was just 8 days ago, 150 ETH. You're talking about $500,000 here. This is just for Bong Bears. Of course, there's the Band Bears and the Boo Bears and the Bong Bears and the Bit Bears, I should say, that are the cheapest. You know, there are all different kinds of Bearer NFTs. These guys are going to accumulate some. And I believe they're going to accumulate 3, one to potentially represent each of the different identities that they have. And they're going to bring these identities to life through these NFTs. So first things first, as a user, you'll be able to invest in and get exposure to these NFTs. Remember, the likelihood is that these NFTs will have some sort of airdrop when Bearer Chain launches. We're anticipating this to be later this month. And so I think this one's going to be really, really interesting to see how, first of all, you can get exposure to these NFTs, how much of a premium a fund that gives you this exposure gives, and then the agent elements on top of that, where these NFTs are actually going to come to life in some way, shape, or form. These agents are going to interact with each other, so it is essentially a swarm, especially if they end up, developing their unique personalities and lore kind of around their characters as well. I think this is going to be really, really cool. Now, in the long run, there's a few interesting things that I think these NFTs, or these agents, I should say, represented by NFTs, these different characters could do. Perhaps they're gonna, maybe one of them is a trader, maybe one of them is more into farming, maybe one of them is more into ecosystem investment within the Bearer Chain ecosystem. I think that is gonna definitely add some extra value capture there. And so I think at the base level, you've got a fund which gives you exposure to Bearer Chain NFTs. You have agents with their own personalities kind of built on top of that. And then you've got another premium from all of the other elements that come with it, whether these agents trade or whether these agents are integrated in games. There's a whole range of different things there, and this is kind of what caught my attention, really. They're launching on Daos World, and so you haven't got that long to go, I believe, as of recording right now. There's 1 day and 16 hours. You can kind of track this, but I think the best thing is to just kind of follow their page and see what's going on there. You can try and get some whitelists. Maybe that gives you some exposure as well, but I think this is just one that I'm focusing on, or trying to have a little bit of attention on right now. So I'll make sure that this video is out pretty soon so that you can follow along and see if this is of value to you. Moving on, we're going to talk about the second AI agent in this video, which is called gAInz. And this is interesting because it's built by the Pulse team. Now, gAInz is really, really interesting because this is an agent built all around health and improving your own personal health. And what I found interesting about this was when reading like what this agent can actually do. Now Nix, who is the founder of Pulse being this digital wearable that can help you to commoditize your health in some ways, where you can actually earn from some of the healthy activity that you can do all through this kind of digital wearable. It's kind of like the Web3 version version of Whoop. Anyway, they've created an agent on top of this that, or like a swarm of AI agents that can help you with your productivity and your health. And so these agents will be there to help you with fitness plans, help you with kind of getting you the right nutrition or kind of motivating you and tracking some of your health. Now, the first agent is going to come out pretty soon, but we can kind of see how this will look a little bit. These are kind of what the earlier agents that I believe Nix created were like. We're going to get something like this, but I think it's really interesting to see like agents that are really going to help you, first of all, with your health and productivity, kind of, but also eventually getting integrated within the Pulse wearable as well. So this one is really, really quite interesting. I never thought that we'd see something like this quickly. And I think Nix is a founder that I respect a lot. I think I'll try and leave a link to this in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. You can kind of have a read of Nix's story and kind of why this all came about. But I think this is a really interesting agent. I will definitely be using this agent because I want to improve my health and I want to improve my productivity and definitely track my data as well. So if I've got an agent that is going to message me every single morning saying do press ups or do this or do that, then maybe it's going to help me, or maybe it's going to motivate me. I don't know, but I like the idea of it. So this is a pretty cool one, and maybe some of you guys can improve your health outcomes from this one too. So this is gAInz. As mentioned right now, the first agent isn't actually there for us to use right this second, but I believe will be pretty soon. Right, moving on. We're going to talk about something called Trench Buddy. Now, this is also interesting because this is around trading and trading with an agent. Now, essentially, when you are trading anyway, well, a lot of the AI agents that we have today that are involved in trading are kind of just trying to automate it to the extent where you don't actually have to do anything. As in, you just fund a wallet, the agent does everything for yourself. But usually, in most cases, you yourself want to actually participate in a little bit of that. So Trench Buddy is basically there as an agent to help give you the alpha or the information that you need in order to make decisions on new coins much more quicker than any human could possibly do. And so that's what they've created with Trench Buddy. Essentially, it is a terminal that's AI and machine learning powered. That is basically there to give you alpha with social edge. So you can enter this application. I believe you need to hold a certain amount of tokens. I'm not sure off the top of my head how much that is. But the idea is that based on your wallet and based on some of the types of tokens that you've traded, you can add certain wallets that you like and certain wallets that you don't like. And this AI will try to figure out what's an optimal solution for you. So you just sign in with your actual wallet itself, and you get real-time token visualization. It will pop up with different tokens. I haven't actually been able to see like which kinds of alpha this can give just yet. This is very new. This is why I'm just making this video as quick as possible. Probably will do a follow-up to kind of actually showcase if this is something that is really good or not. But I'm putting it in this video just because I think it's something that could be interesting. So yeah. This is kind of what it looks like here. I guess you can see it here. You can see it'll just pop up with all different kinds of tokens that match your kind of style. Other people can comment on them as well. But this is all AI and machine learning powered, which I think is pretty interesting. Now, again, some of these tokens will do well, some of them won't do well. Again, this is just obviously just helping speed up your research process essentially. So I'll leave it there with Trench Buddy. Number 4, we are going to talk about BigTony. Again, this is another kind of DeFi agent, you could say. I think DeFi agents are really catching on at the moment. They've been probably a little bit in the agent narrative over the last 5 days or so, and that's kind of why I'm focusing a little bit more on DeFi agents in general. But BigTony is interesting because it's built by a company called Code3x. Now, essentially what they've created is the ability for anyone to no code create a DeFi agent, and that can really be interesting because you'll eventually have loads of different agents that are all learning from one another that people create, and people kind of have functionality in terms of when they want to take profits, or which kind of strategies they want to use, or kind of safety netting things in place as well. And you can do all of this through these agents. They have a video demonstration here, which really was interesting to showcase some of the different risk factors or trading styles that you can kind of implement. Again, you can just type all of this up as well, so there's no code. So you can see here, your aim is to exit all positions over a certain period of time. This is the rebalancing that you should do. This is the risk management that you should do. You just kind of type it all in, and you can save those changes. You can add some personality traits to it as well, how aggressive it is, how conservative it is, how open it is to try kind of new tokens, and that's it. You can kind of let it go. It'll kind of perform its own strategies by itself. So this one is actually really, really interesting. I think when I watched this video, I kind of realized, wow, actually, this is quite cool. What's great is that they're using data partners like Allura, which I think are a very, very big protocol, polychain backed. But I think what really, really caught my eye was that these agents can actually use trading layers like Hyperliquid. We've talked about Hyperliquid loads, right? Hyperliquid, #1 PUPS protocol on chain right now. Imagine like your agent using all of those different tools that it's fed with, and using all of the different parameters that you decide, trading for you 24 hours a day. I think that would be really, really awesome. And I guess as I create an agent, you create an agent, person C creates an agent, like they will all try and learn from each other. And I think that is going to be pretty awesome. Now, in terms of what data sets they're using, I'm not too sure. I need to exactly kind of dive deeper and find out, what are they using to kind of create these strategies. But I do think this is going to be pretty interesting, and I'm playing around with it as well for sure. So that is BigTony. So BigTony is actually the first agent that they've created. So it tweets and whatnot. To be honest with you, I'm not interested in agents that just sit around and tweet all day. What I'm more interested in is like how these agents actually perform. So I believe you can actually go and see its profile here potentially, and I can see what it owns right now, what it's trading, etc. So it's got $50,000. Most of this is the Tony token, so nothing too crazy just yet. But I do think that this one is an interesting one, and we will see over time like different agents coming out of this. So this is why I thought it was quite interesting. Moving on, we are going to talk about HeyAnon. Now, some of you may know this one, and that's because some of you may have been around last cycle, and you would have known this character. His name is Daniele, or Daniele Sesta. Sesta is sometimes what he's known as. We talked about him a lot about 3-4 years ago, and that's because he is the guy who created a protocol called Time Wonderland. That doesn't exist anymore, but this guy's created another AI protocol. This time it's called HeyAnon. And HeyAnon is a DeFi agent, and it can do a whole range of different things. Now, Daniele actually talked about this in this article, which I'll try and leave a link to in the description below. But essentially, these agents are able to do lots of interesting things, like, for example, participating in governance, but also, so governance is a really important thing, research as well, but also kind of doing things related to trading and kind of market monitoring or risk analysis and opportunity, things like that. Capital deployment, rebalancing positions, harvesting farming rewards. This is meant to be like this all-in-one AI that can do a whole range of different on-chain actions. Now, again, this is in development as well right now, so I'm assuming that we probably will be able to see some of this stuff happening or coming out pretty soon. But again, like it can do things like bridging, swapping, yield farming, all of that sort of stuff. So I think this one's pretty cool as well. I think we're really seeing the rise of these DeFi agents, like as I've just mentioned. Probably going to see a lot more. I think these are very, very, very early days though. So yeah, please be careful if you are speculating. But again, this one is an interesting one. So it's coming soon. It's great to see that it's going to be on pretty much all of the EVM chains. Would love to see it using Hyperliquid and Chain and some of those other ones as well when they come out in due time. But yeah, DeFi agents, HeyAnon is another one. Last but not least, we're going to talk about WAI Combinator. Again, this is kind of like a meme agent, you could say. But what's interesting about WAI Combinator is that this is an agent that does investments, and they do investments into other agent coins. That is, the simple thesis around it. Now, what this agent does is it just basically finds interesting opportunities, deploys assets, that's pretty much what it does. You can get exposure to that through WAI Combinator itself. What's interesting to me is seeing its performance, and you can actually track its wallet. It's actually done pretty well. I'm seeing quite a lot of trades, excluding its own token, right? That is done where it's made 1,000%, 200%, 200%. It's actually early to a lot of tokens, and so I'm interested to see, can an agent outperform a human when it comes to investing? Does it have the tools or the ability to actually, in a market like this, outperform? So this is one that I'm just going to be tracking to see how can it actually perform. Can agents be better than humans? I find that concept pretty remarkable. And so I'm mentioning this one just so that you can follow it along. I'm not telling you to buy this token. I mean, this token doesn't really mean much at all. I don't think it's, I mean, you're investing in a token that belongs to an agent that makes other investments. How much is that premium? I don't know. I mean, it's pretty expensive anyway. But I do think the idea is really, really interesting. And actually, what was also interesting was seeing its mindshare kind of go up over time. Didn't expect it to go up that quickly, but yeah, its mindshare is pretty high. Like pretty up there. So that's why I thought it was pretty interesting. I will be keeping an eye on this wallet and seeing, like, can this investment agent make $1 million? That would be pretty wild. And yeah, we'll see kind of how its performance does. There are other ones that do this as well. But I think what caught my eye was, first of all, its mindshare, but also how much it's been able to make in such a short period of time anyway. So yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. That's 6 more interesting agents. I probably will do more videos covering some of the infra, because I think some of the infra right now is catching the biggest bid, and I think those have some really good opportunities right now. So probably will cover them again, or cover some of those in more detail in future videos. But in this one, just wanted to cover 6, again, individual agents. We're not talking about frameworks or anything like that in this video. We're just covering some that have launched, some that haven't launched, again, just for your own experimentation and fun. So of course, nothing is financial advice. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back with plenty more agent videos in the not so distant future.